Hello. Today I wanted to start the vlog just a little bit differently. We get a lot of questions and I wanted to answer some of those today. One of the most frequently asked questions that we get is, how old is Craig? He's 30 years old. He was born in 1992. The other frequently asked question that we get is, when did Craig start to talk? To my best recollection, when Craig was 2, he did say a few words, like he would count the stairs as he was going down or up. He also said, ho, 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 Merry Christmas. He sang a little bit of Jingle Bells. I'm sure he said a few other things, but none of them did he use to communicate. The biggest thing that we noticed about Craig that alarmed us was that he wasn't communicating in any way. He didn't point. He didn't answer. If we told him to sit down or come here, you would have thought Craig was deaf. However, I knew he wasn't deaf because if Rugrats came on and he was in the basement, he came running up the stairs to see the TV. So I knew that Craig could hear fine. I was just getting really concerned that there was some kind of a communication barrier for him, which led to me going to see our family doctor with my concerns. And my family doctor at the time, who we loved, didn't think that there was anything to be concerned about at that time. But in seeing other children his age at church and other events that we went to, I knew that they were very different than Craig was. He didn't play with them. He didn't play in the same way like that Stephanie had or that I saw other kids playing. He liked to play with toys, but there was no imagination going on there. And he certainly didn't interact with anyone unless they approached him. Then he might give them some attention. Craig has always been cuddly and lovey. In that respect, he was nothing like what at that time, back in Craig was born in 92. So like in 1994, there was very little said about autism at that time. I checked out some books at our library, and frankly, it was terrifying because it talked about kids who treated people like furniture and spent their days lining up cars and building block towers. And I didn't see any of that in Craig. So even though I did look to see about autism, because when you look up lack of communication, that was definitely one of the first things that I found. And we didn't have internet back then, so it was really just picking up books and going through childhood disorders, and autism kept coming up and coming up, and I kept thinking, no, it can't be that. So I ended up going back to our family doctor and expressing more concerns, and he got us an appointment with a speech pathologist. When we took him to the speech pathologist, she spent 10 minutes with Craig and came out and told us that he had autism, which I guess we were a little put off by that. We thought, how can she tell that in 10 minutes? Of course, as time went on, we realized she was absolutely correct. Her diagnosis, when we got home, I read the diagnosis and prognosis, and it said prognosis guarded due to the severity of disorder. Now that is terrifying. And I found it hard to believe because nothing about Craig to me said he had a severe disorder. I mean, he still liked to spend time with us, and he still liked to do a lot of the things that Stephanie did at that time. He just didn't have the same kind of interaction. So I guess I just kind of pushed that to the back of my mind, and through going to the speech pathologist, they got us in contact with the AEA, which I'm not exactly sure what all of those letters stand for, but it was actually the Early Childhood Education Agency. And the AEA got us enrolled in early childhood education preschool, and they came into our house and they did their own set of tests and their own diagnosis. And at that time, they advised us not to ever have Craig formally diagnosed because they said that that would affect him being able to get certain, it would affect our insurance. They said that there was, at that time, there was still things like pre-existing conditions and exclusions that if he was diagnosed with autism, they could refuse to pay it, saying that whatever was going on was because of the fact that he was autistic. So we did not have Craig formally diagnosed, I guess, really ever until he turned 18. And then, of course, we had to go through the whole DHS process to get him signed up for Social Security and for Medicaid and for all of the things that go along with that. So he would be sure to be able to get any services that he needed after the age of 18. And so anyway, I'm getting off track. So Craig spoke a little bit at age 2. And before he was, at age 3, he started early child education, special education preschool. And the first day I took Craig to preschool, honestly, I started crying, and the teachers thought I was crying because I was so sad to be dropping Craig off there. And in all honesty, I was crying because I saw all of these other kids that had disabilities, and they were sitting around a circle, and they were participating. They were sitting at desks doing activities. And I couldn't ever imagine that Craig would be able to do those things, because in most cases at home, he was running up and down the hallway at that time. If I took him to the doctor, he would cry if I shut the door to the room, and I would have to go out into the hallway so he could run up and down the hallway. So it was very hard to believe that Craig was going to be able to progress in a structured environment like that. And what do you know? A couple of days later, I come to pick him up, and there he is sitting in the circle participating. And they show me how they've got him to do puzzles with them, with their assistants. And after Craig got started in preschool, it wasn't long until he started talking more. More and more words were added. When he started, I don't know, he had like maybe 10 words when he started preschool. And like within a month, the amount of words that he was saying just blossomed. And soon he was saying so many words that we couldn't even count anymore. Now, were all of those words used for communication? No. Was he conversational? No. Conversation would not come for many years. Craig did learn to use his words to communicate with us, things that he needed, things that he wanted. He'd even say, "I love you," but honestly, sometimes Craig would say, "I love you," to get out of doing things. He would even say it to his teachers at school. Or if they wanted to do something that he didn't want to do, he would try to give them a kiss. Does he know how precious that was to us, that he had started showing more and more affection in that way? But Craig's, his language did blossom at the age of 3 and just continued to grow. I don't remember him being conversational until at least middle school. And even then, it was nowhere like it is today. It would be more, he would come to tell us something. Like maybe he would tell us a sentence and we would tell him a sentence, and then he was done. He didn't have any interest in conversing any further. Really, the first time I noticed him initiating conversation with a stranger was after we moved here a couple of years ago. One of Joe's friends were here, and Craig just walked into the room and started talking to him, asking him how he was. So honestly, Craig's language skills just continue to grow and amaze me every single day. And really, I think YouTube has helped so much, because we have asked him more questions and communicated more with him in ways that we never dreamed that he would be willing to communicate. Craig really loves it, and we love it. I love all the things that we're doing, and I love that Craig, he really does realize that we have an audience, and he's been having a lot of fun with it. He always used to tell me that he wanted his own YouTube channel and he wanted to be a YouTube star. So here we are. And he's loving it. Sometimes he lets me know that he's ready to be done with it, and so we stop. I definitely know Craig's boundaries, and I can read the signals when he's getting overwhelmed with things. So let's go on to the next question that I got. At what age did we start to notice that Craig was remembering facts? The first time that we noticed that Craig had an amazing photographic memory even was the first time we went to Disney World. And Craig was, let's see, I think Craig was about 8 years old when we went to Disney World for the first time. And when we walked into Disney World, Craig was just leading us around. He knew exactly where everything was because he had been looking at the Disney maps. And he knew which way the castle was and which way the ride was that he wanted to ride. And that's the first time we realized that, hey, there's a lot going on in there that we don't know, because of course Craig doesn't tell us everything he knows. He doesn't tell us what he's thinking about all the time, and back then he really didn't. So that was the first time we noticed it. And as Craig grew older and started to communicate more, we realized more and more. The first time we realized like how he could remember all the names of people that did voiceovers and who was in movies was probably 3 or 4 years ago. There was a time when Stephanie and Craig were doing a TikTok channel together, and then Craig and Stephanie had 2 children and she just got too busy to do it. And honestly, the TikTok platform, people can be pretty brutal and it can be very stressful. So we just decided that it was time to stop that channel. So, but during that channel, people would ask like Craig to review movies and so in doing so, we realized, wow, Craig knows a lot of movie facts and he knows who does the voices of all these people. So probably, I don't know, about 5 years ago when we first really knew that Craig had that talent. And he'll often say things to me, like he'll tell me when one of our relatives moved from one town to the next, and what year. He knows exactly what year and what month he got his wisdom teeth taken out. It's just, it always blows my mind. Next question I have is, how old was Craig when he learned to read fluently and do the voices of characters? Gosh, that's really hard to remember. I feel like he's been reading as long as I can remember, but the fluency probably really took off more when he was in high school. And that's when we started to notice it more, because he started doing what he called the Craig A. Vanderveer show in his room every night, where he would have a little show and a sponsor, and he'd always read a book. And then if he would allow us to come into his room at that time, we got to hear him reading his book and doing those voices. And that was a really fun thing, but he really at that time didn't want anyone to listen to it. That was like, he said that was just for his imagination. And the last question that I have is, have we had any special training? And no, we haven't. We have really just learned as we went, trial and error, advice from other parents. Honestly, I've learned a lot of things by watching other parents' YouTube channels and TikToks. But we had some friends, and early on when Craig was diagnosed, And I wanted all the information that I could get, and I wanted connection with other parents. I went to a few autism symposiums, and at those symposiums, other parents with children with autism, especially grown children, would get up and speak, and I feel like I learned a lot from that. I really enjoyed that. I loved that connection because we were from a small town and there was only 2 other boys with autism that we knew of at that time. So that's probably the most training that we ever had. We pretty much parent Craig like we do our other children, and we've just made adaptations. I would have to say that sometimes our world revolved around Craig because we had to plan things that Craig likes to do and avoid things that Craig doesn't like to do. But I don't really feel like our kids have ever been resentful for that. Thankfully, I guess they just grew up with it and that's the way things were. And that's all the questions that I have for today. If you have a question, please contact me via the email that is. If you have any questions, please contact me via the email that is in the channel description, which is ourdailyview1992@gmail.com. I will definitely see those questions and emails to answer. I do have a really hard time getting through all the comments that we get on the videos. I try to read them and to respond to as many as I can, but it's just really impossible to do and put out a video every day and edit it and do all of the other things that go on in our lives. So if you have something that you really want to ask us or you'd like to communicate with us, please send us an email. I do answer all of those. And I think that I am done with this section for today. Please feel free to ask me any questions and we will answer them. You can also ask questions for Joe or Stephanie or Bennett, and I will get together with them and have them do a video as well answering questions. And so for now, I will sign off with this portion of the video, and we'll see you a little later with Craig. I was able to find this video of Craig when he was in preschool. I am thinking he's between the ages of 3 and 4 here. I thought you might find this interesting. I probably have some more videos somewhere, so if you're interested, please let me know. Please enjoy this portion of the video. And then after this, we'll be back with a cooking video with Craig.
Check your chart, Craig. Check your chart. Get the work picture. No, wrong picture. That's group. Here, let's get the work picture. This one. This one. Okay, let's go work. Yes. Green. Yes, all done. Ready your tub.
And he's supposed to pick it up and put it in his basket,
Craig, pick it up and put in your tub.
which he's
Put in your
doing.
tub. Okay, now put in your dim box.
Good job, Craig.
Number
Okay, ready
three.
for bottom basket
Number
number 3.
three. Diamond. Turn it. There you go. Circle.
Sherry, make him put that one back in and tell him done. The diamond should never come back out of there.
Done. Where's the circle go?
We want to be sure to teach him the correct way,
Where does the circle go?
because once the pattern's set, it's hard to break out of.
Where's it go? Yeah, turn it, Craig. Make sure you can turn it so it fit. Yes. No.
It's taking him longer to do this today. He's fixating on the shapes.
Where's it go?
Gets hung up on each shape.
Yes.
We had to make a quick trip to HyVee because we're making a recipe for supper, and guess what, Craig?
What is it?
Dad ate all the ham.
What?
It's okay, we just have to buy some more ham. We're on our way to the deli to get some ham. Craig says this is going to be a quick trip. Smells like pizza in here. Right, here we go, Craig. Wearing your tomato shirt, Craig?
Yep. Hello everybody, this is Chef Craig here, and today we're making bacon cheddar biscuits. We have the biscuit mix, the milk, and the shredded cheese.
And where did we get this biscuit mix from, Craig?
The Big Brass Pro Shop.
That's right. All right, so what does it say on the side of it for instructions?
Preheat oven for 400 degrees. Add content of package to the medium mixing bowl.
Okay, so that's our first step. Need some help? You gonna get the scissors? Good job.
This is the last and final straw. Yeah.
All right, we got that open. Now, we're gonna get our bowl. And what's the next step? Oh, put the scissors away. Good idea.
Add milk.
Okay. 1/2 cup of milk. Oh, that's okay. All right. And then what's next?
Shredded cheese.
How much?
Half.
1/2 a cup.
Yeah.
Oh. I thought Penny heard that piece of cheese fall on the floor. Oh, they did. There was a little fight over that piece of cheese. Okay, now what does it say to do?
Mix well. Dough should be firm and not too sticky.
Okay, so do you want to get a spoon to mix it with, and we'll see how that does.
This one?
Yes, let's try that one. Here's what it's looking like. What flavor are these biscuits supposed to be, Craig?
Bacon cheddar.
Yeah, I can really smell the smoky flavor. So we have our parchment paper lined baking sheet, and Craig is scooping up the dough onto the sheet. The dough should be firm, and I think it is.
I think we need more, right?
Okay, hold on. Time to call Craig down. The biscuits are done. Don't they look delicious? Right, do you see those delicious looking biscuits?
Yeah.
Now, while the biscuits get cooled, what do we do next, Craig?
Scramble the eggs.
Well, we're going to make some eggs and ham to put on the biscuits and cheese so we can have like breakfast biscuits for dinner. Do you want your egg scrambled, or do you want me to make it like an egg McMuffin egg?
Well, it looks like an egg McMuffin egg to me.
Okay, so first we need to, you get those little white bowls over there? So we need to crack an egg into each bowl. Good job. Craig has gotten very good at cracking the eggs. All right. So I've been getting this water hot. What you want to do is have a saucepan like this with some water in the bottom, and you bring it to a simmer, and you put the egg cups in it. Do you want to bring the egg cups over, Craig? Here's what they look like. Oh, looks like there was another carton of double yolks. This is the second carton of double yolk eggs that we've gotten.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so now we let this continue to simmer. We will turn it, it will start to boil, and we'll also, I sprayed this with some Parquet butter spray, and we'll put the ham in it and get the ham warmed up. It won't take too long to cook these. So you can see that the water has began to boil, and I've turned it down so it doesn't boil too hard. And we have the ham in the pan getting warmed up. Time to assemble. Do you want to assemble? Do you want to assemble yours, Craig?
Yeah.
I've got the egg. Now you want to put some cheese. And then there you go, and some ham.
More ham.
You can put another piece on. How's that look? That looks good. You might have to use a fork. We'll see if it holds together for you to eat it. Okay, you can take it. Are you going to take a bite? All right.
Mmm. Mmm. Tastes good.
Good job, Chef Craig.
Well, thanks.
Craig's also having a side of baked Cheetos. One of our viewers wants to know, do you like Sonic the Hedgehog and the Super Mario Brothers?
Yeah, they're funny. They're fast, they're brave. They battle evilness.
Which one's your favorite character?
Mario.
Can you say some lines that the Mario Brothers say?
Mamma mia!
What about Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, man!
We went to see the Super Mario Brother movies, didn't we?
Yep.
And did you like them?
Yep, I like it.
I wanted to show this garden flag was a gift from one of our viewers that came last week, and I wanted to show it after I got a holder to put it on, and I think that looks so nice there. I'm so happy about that. Can you hear that sound that Craig's computer's making?
That was that computer.
Yeah, it's the fan on it. But we ordered a new computer.
What?
No, but Craig, it's all right. It's okay if you're going to get a new computer and it's going to work better and your videos will work better.
I know.
This one's going to quit working soon and you don't want that. Yeah, so Dad's got you a new improved computer.
It looks the same too?
Well, it'll be smaller so it will fit better on your desk.
Right.
So, I think it'll be a good thing, right?
Right.
You're
And you
gonna
still do Google Chrome?
Yeah, you can still use Google Chrome. It will work just like your old one, and you'll be able to watch all the same shows.
Right.
Trying to find a show to watch?
Yeah, Mickey and the Roadster Racers.
Oh.
I mean, Mickey Mouse Funhouse. Look, I didn't want to be half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is, close this book right now. Believe whatever lie your mom or dad told you about your birth, and try to lead a normal life. Being a half-blood is dangerous. It's scary. Most of the time, it gets you killed in painful, nasty ways. If you're a normal kid reading this because you think it's fiction, great. Read on. I envy you for being able to believe that none of this ever happened. But if you recognize yourself in these pages, if you'll feel something stirring inside, stop reading immediately. You must be one of us. And once you know that, it's only a matter of time before they sense it too. Then they'll come for you. Don't say I didn't warn you. My name is Peter Jackson. I'm 12 years old until a few months ago. I was a boarding student at Yancey Academy, a private school for troubled kids in upstate New York. Am I a trouble kid? Yeah, you could say that. I could start at any point in my short, miserable life to prove it. But things really started going bad last May. When our 6th grade class took a field trip into Manhattan, 28 middle class case kids and 2 teachers on a yellow school bus, heading to the Metropolitan Museum of Art to look at the ancient Greek and Roman stuff. I know it sounds like torture. Most Yancey field trips were. But Mr. Brunner, our Latin teacher, was leading this trip, so I had hopes. Mr. Brunner was the middle-aged guy in a motorized wheelchair. He had thinning hair and a scruffy beard and a frayed tweed jacket, which always smelled like coffee. You wouldn't think he'd be cool, but he told stories and jokes and let us play games in class. He also had this awesome collection of Roman armor and weapons, so he was the only teacher whose class didn't put me to stop sleep. I hoped that the trip would be okay, at least. I hoped that for once I wouldn't get in trouble. Boy, I was wrong. See, bad things happen to me on field trips. Like at my 5th grade school. When we went to the Saratoga battlefield, I had this accident with the Revolutionary War cannon I was aiming for the school bus. But of course, I got expelled anyway. And before that, at my 4th grade school, when we took a behind-the-scenes tour of the Marine World Shark Pool, I sort of hit the wrong level on the catwalk, and our class took an unplanned swim. And the time before that, well, you get the idea.
Very good. Turn around so people can see what you've been reading. Here, can you put your... There you go. Craig has been reading Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Volume 1, called The Lightning Thief. One of our viewers sent us this collection of books by Percy Jackson. Actually, it's by Rick Riordan. And I think it's going to be very interesting. You did a great job reading, Craig. You made me want to read more.
And this is Craig A. Favre saying, keep on having a great day and we'll see you tomorrow.